Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Gina, as well. All right. I think Vlad gonna be here in a few minutes.
Okay, that's
We've been
perfectly
just
fine.
practicing. We've been just practicing on another line with him, so we're all
Okay.
set here. Sorry about my background. I'm in the cabin in the woods right now, and I wasn't able to get to my
N-
apartment, so
No,
it's
no
gonna be
worries.
a cozy fireplace type of background for me right now. So
It's beautiful. It'll go over great.
thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Hey
Hi,
guys,
Kate. Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good. Can you please help me pronounce your first and last name?
It's Vlad. You can call me VLAD, kind of
Okay.
Vlad, and Podolyako, Podolyak.
Podolaco?
Almost. Podolyako, Ly
Podoliaco.
Liako. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
Thanks.
a good way
Podoliaco.
for it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's hope I can nail that. I may just use your first names if that's okay.
Yeah.
Use
Yeah,
first
you can
names and
say like just
titles.
Vlad and Michael. Yeah, it's
Yeah, would be
Vlad and
great.
Michael. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. Just wanted to make sure before I just started chopping y'all's names. And Michael, beautiful. I have a little blurb. So we'll go through an intro. I'll go ahead and welcome everybody in. Um, and then add the streaming details. Harry, my marketing guy kills me.
Question, by the way, if
Yes.
we do have the access for sharing presentation, Michael will share it on our behalf. So, Michael, you have it, right?
Yeah, I had deck in front of me. So Gina, I because I'm a panelist, you will be able to give me the sharing okay, I have it now.
Yep.
Awesome. All right.
That's why we do
Yes.
a
All right.
quick practice session to make sure
Yeah.
that everything is working correctly
Mm-hmm.
behind stage, kind of. And so let me get him the info. Custom live streaming service. Nope, that's for him.
Also, just to make sure,
Mhm.
because I have the permission to share, the recording will be done on your end, right? So you'll do the recording.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
going to be uploaded to my computer directly. And
All
then
right.
I explained to Kate that tomorrow it normally takes a couple of hours for it to get done. So I just set a reminder
Perfect. All
for
right.
first thing in the morning. I'll send that over via email.
Good. Good. Okay. That was for us. Thanks. All right.
No problem. Okay, let me get this live streaming. Sorry, just bear with me here, guys. I'm
Yeah, no problem.
we were using Goldcast and now we're using Zoom, so I'm having to relearn everything that I learned prior.
All right. What did you move from the Goldcast to
We were having
Zoom?
issues with the recordings not they were coming in corrupted, the links were corrupted, so we were having to
All right.
constantly go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and we finally just said, you know what, we're just moving to Zoom, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Right.
So and it's proved to be a lot easier, but I'm still learning the ins and outs of all of this.
Mhm.
So yeah. So really quickly while we're still back here, what I have typed up is I'm gonna welcome everybody in as people are still joining. Um as people are still joining, I'll say we're going to begin shortly. Please feel free to include where you are from And I normally try to do something fun in the chat. So I chose in your go-to email subject line or your go-to cold email subject line. So like something that they always try to do just to kind of get the conversation going around, cold emails and things like that. And then I'll welcome everybody in and announce who you guys are and myself, just the title of the webinar. And then basically, you want to take lots of notes, please ask questions in the chat and the Q&A. Thanks for attending. Now to turn it over to the cold emailing experts.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, awesome. Let me add these in quickly and we will go ahead and get started. Stream key. And streaming page. Two seconds.
Mhm.
All right, and we're going to go live. Hello and welcome in, everybody. We're going to give it a couple of minutes for everybody to kind of join in. If you wouldn't mind sharing where you are from and your go-to cold emailing subject line in the chat, we would love to see what you guys have come up with. Give it a couple moments here and let people continue to join. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're asking while we wait for everybody to join, go ahead and put in the chat where you are joining us from and your favorite go-to cold emailing subject line. We'd love to hear some great ideas that you guys have. Give it a couple minutes as we're just now at the top of the hour. We started a little soon, so we'll give it another 5 minutes or so, and then we will get started. Hello, Sammy and James. Yes, there will be a recording emailed to you as part of our recap. It'll normally go out tomorrow morning, so you guys will have a full recording of this to share with your teams. Hello, everyone. If you're just joining in, we're asking everybody, please share where you're calling in from and your favorite go-to subject line for your cold emailing.
What's up? Oh, my camera is way up there.
All right, guys, we're going to give it a couple more minutes and we will get started. As more folks are joining us, go ahead and tell us where you are from, where you're joining us from. And as you can see in the chat, provide us with your favorite go-to cold emailing line. We'll give it another 2 minutes and then we will get started. All right, we still have a couple more folks joining us. Slow your roll, that's great. There's some really clever titles in here. All right, so we're about 4 minutes in. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to today's webinar with our valued partner, Folderly. We're going to go ahead and get started. I would start off with introductions. I am Gina. I'm the Partner Success Manager at RevGenius. Today we have Vlad, who is the founder and CEO of Folderly, along with Michael, who is the managing partner at Folderly. And we're going to be going over how to bypass spam traps and get 50% plus cold email open rates, which I'm sure all of us would love to learn about. I know I personally do. So you're going to want to take lots of notes. Please ask questions in the chat and the Q&A. And thank you so much for attending. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to the cold emailing experts.
Thanks, Gina.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Hey guys, we appreciate you taking the time, and we are very excited speaking in front of this RevGenius community and sharing what we've learned over the course of the last 10 years running cold emailing, both as marketers and sellers, as well as the owners of the agency and now the tech startup entrepreneurs, right? So we always are speaking a lot about cold emailing, and it might take us for hours. So if we are going too in the weeds with the details, stop us in the chat, and we will transfer to another slide. All right, because it just it might take us a few hours just to get started with this because we have a lot of information. All right. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Yeah, guys, please make sure that you ask questions in the chat and then in the QA section as well. And then we will make sure that we will go through, on the questions, answer all the questions at the end of this. All right, so let's get started. As Gina introduced, we are founders of Folderly, and I really wanted to spend a minute here to just tell you the backstory of why we actually started Folderly and why we are kind of expert in cold emailing. So starting from late 2016, early 2017, Vlad and I started building our own appointment setting agency called Belkins. From the day one, we've been focusing on performance, making sure that our SDRs had been booking these great qualified appointments for our clients. And from the day one, we decided we're going to focus our attention on the email channel. And then somewhere like, I think mid 17, maybe late 17, our emails start being flagged as spam a lot. Just, it's a major, it's going to be like a broad below 50% of the emails start landing in spam. And my SDRs had been on the fire alert, and they've been always asking, Michael, do something with it. We cannot deliver appointments to our clients because our emails are in spam. So what I did, I was back then responsible for sales and marketing. So I came to Vlad and said, Vlad, we cannot do business like this. It should stop. We need to figure out how this can be stopped, right? And back then there was no technology that could help us, and there was no process, right? Because back in 2017, when the marketing or good emails or good sales emails being marked as spam wasn't a bit like a new notion, right? So essentially what I did, and then Vlad kind of helped me to solve that problem. And as we've been solving this problem, Folderly was born, right? So Vlad, can you speak for a few minutes, just generally how you thought of Folderly when you started it, and generally what is the platform about, and what's been so difficult with spam and email deliverability that we had to build this product?
Sure, thank you, Michael. So as Michael told, that we having kind of Belkin's agency as our kind of B2B lead generation agency, and we struggle a lot when kind of spam hit us, and you can imagine our volumes when we're working with a lot of different clients, with a lot of different companies, domains, mailboxes. I guess back then it was around 800-900 mailboxes that we manage on a daily basis on behalf of our clients, and helping them to be kind of more successful with email marketing and drive new revenue. So when spam hit us, and usually speaking about kind of email performance result that we're getting from email marketing, from cold email marketing campaigns, we was about kind of 50 plus 70% in open rates, up to 25% in replay rates. And there is a lot of traction, right? And going back then, for some day, I guess, when we kind of starting the usual day in the week, in the work week, we saw that like all of those kind of performance drastically declined. And I really started to frowning myself about why is this kind of happening, and what the hell is going on with all of those mailboxes. So I'm starting to dive deep. And as Michael said, is kind of the crucial issue in terms of the delivery and lead acquisition when you are kind of email marketing as your main channel for lead acquisition goes bad and there is no performance at all. So we started to digging deep over those technical terms, over the deliverability, and I discovered that you cannot just send emails right now. So you need to be more technical savvy in terms of having understanding on how domain works, how mailbox works, how the IP addresses works, and not just kind of having the leads at the site, having top-notch list hygiene, debouncing it, and having great templates. It's just not enough already. You just need to take care about more of those technical stuff like DNS, like kind of how I can set up my domain the right way before like any email was outbounded from it. So basically, I started digging deep in. I discovered that you have those kind of main pillars of email deliverability. So we discovered that we have email infrastructure, which is based on all of those DNS policies, based on what kind of domain zone are you at, what kind of email service provider are you using, like Google, Gmail, or Microsoft Outlook, or Microsoft Exchange, or AWS, or whatever. There's hundreds of them. And what content, what leads, etc. So we starting to finish, like polishing each and every step of this process. And in the Belkins, we created email deliverability department who handling this. First of all, manually, we find out the way how to fix all those problems and how to be more efficient with it. And after a while, when we starting to ask, me and Michael started asking questions about how kind of that successful with email marketing campaigns and why we kind of having those kind of performance, we're telling that we have this kind of email deliverability story behind. And I guess this is the day when we decided to productize it, and we're starting to build Folderly.
Yeah, and I think we've back then we spent probably a year building the department and polishing and fixing spam manually, and then automating the process. And then another year when we've been building it and testing it with Belkins as our main client, and only in about like 2.5 years, so early 2020, we actually released the platform and start kind of working with that. And that's why, the platform been so successful with clients all over the world, with industries. And, we've seen great, trend in terms of the growth, just again, as a result of, having spent enough time R&Ding this and building it and testing that and making sure that it's actually solved the problem. Because again, why we decided to do this, because there was no one out there who could do that in the right way, right? You just, you can go ahead and buy a product for $15, $25, some warm up, and do you think that can warm up for $15 going to work? I doubt, right? So anyhow, in the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk about common reasons why your cold emails dissolve in a spam folder, how to get your mailbox ready for cold outreach, and then also speak about some strategies and best practices, how to get to 50-70% open rate. All right. Now I have a question for you guys in the chat. Does it sound real? 70% open rate for your cold email. Can you type in chat those who have seen 70% open rate for your cold emails, who actually think that this is for real? And just put no, I don't think so, or it's unreal in the chat as well. So I do know that you don't believe that actually 70% can be achieved. All right. So 20 seconds, put in the chat. Do you believe that 70% is real or no, if it's not real?
There's a lot of people that striking no already.
Yeah. All right. So actually, it's real, and we've seen that, and it's our. I would say that we are striving this to be our average for all the cold, all emails that we are sending. And in the next 20 minutes, we're going to tell you how you can get to 70% as well. All right. So a fun fact for you guys. So, there are billions of emails sent on a daily basis, and the interesting number that we've researched was that out of 100% of the emails that should go to inbox, around 45% are actually not getting delivered, and then 40% will go to spam. So, and these are, some of those are very, very good, email that people spend hours crafting, good leads, good products, but they're not delivered, right? So we just need to know why, and we've been there, right? We didn't know why the emails that we've spent $1,000 on were not delivered, right? All right, so what you see here on the screen, this is typically how the spam filter works, and what is the behind the curtain, right? From the point where you click on send button to the point when that button when that email is received, right? And I'm gonna hand over Mike to Vlad for the next 2 minutes to speak about this whole process and walk you through it. How does it work?
Yeah, so basically, common understanding of ours that what's happening after we hit the send button in our Gmail or in our outreach solution, what's happening with the email? Is it just being received to your recipient, or is it kind of having this rough road that kind of on the screen right now? So basically, to share more light on what kind of process we're at. So basically, when you are sending email, after you hit the send button, what's happening next? So basically, your email infrastructure starting to be kind of in the place. So basically, first thing that happened, your emails getting assigned DKIM record. It's your digital signature for each and every email that's sending from your domain, from your mailboxes, and sending as a header through the sending server to the SMTP IMAP. And just to remark, SMTP is the protocol for sending emails and IMAP for the receiving emails. And after that, after your email assigned the digital signature, it's not just your typical signature with your job title, it's more about the code and some sort of encryption in it. Right. So basically, after that, email starting to going to the second stage, and the second stage, it's starting to be analyzed. So basically, it's sent to the recipient, and it's starting to analyze by the first, your sending reputation, your IP blacklist, your domain and mailbox health, and your IP reputation. So basically, this is the standard verification process where other DNS records, and DNS records is those records that you are assigning when you're buying your domain or setting up your domain. And all those kind of system behind the backend for those kind of SMP IMAP, starting to checking, is it true or not? So basically starting to applying DMARC policies. And to give you a thought on what is kind of DMARC, it's Domain Messaging Authentication Protocol. And what is it all about? So basically, this protocol starting to analyze your emails in order to how authenticated you are, what kind of DNS records you are having under your domain, what kind of email are you sending, to whom you're sending it with, what kind of content are you sending. And this record starting to work with all of those kind of entities over your email infrastructure, and starting to analyze your digital signature, starting to analyzing your SPF record. SPF record is a standard policy framework, which states about what kind of tools are you using for outreach your emails, and starting to analyze, is this the right tool that you send email right now to your recipient, was the right tool that you already like put in your under your domain. And after like this kind of standard verification, your email having kind of 3 different statuses, basically depending on what kind of DMARC you put under your domain. It can be bypassed, whatever error you have over your kind of infrastructure. It can be quarantined, and quarantined meaning 50% of your emails that kind of having problems will pass to your recipients, and 50% will be kind of or rather kind of returned to you or hit the spam folder and totally rejected. So basically speaking about totally rejected, so if there's any problem that or with kind of any misconfiguration over your DNS records, basically your email didn't went through, and you will receive bounce rather than something that with this kind of email didn't go through. You will receive the bounce that there is no delivery for this email, and as a result, you will have your kind of record about your mailbox, domain, IP, health, put kind of over the backend. And after this kind of process, and it's kind of not just an end for this, when your email passed, what kind of like Gmail, for example, starting to do is starting to analyze your content. Basically, what kind of words are you using? Is it the spam words? What kind of emails are you sending? If there's any attachments, or is it any kind of heavy HTML code that you are planning to send? And after like putting in place all of those kind of processes and kind of settings in place, you're assigning this kind of reputation and assigning the result of your email deliverability. So this kind of rough road for your emails before it being received.
You know, the interesting about this is that about 65% of the clients that start using Folderly don't have their DNS records set up correctly. So make sure that if you are visiting and if you're listening to us, make sure that after this call, you go to your marketing team and you make sure that you guys have the right DNS records set up. DKIM, SPF, DMARC, BME, all of those should be set up correctly, because again, 65% of our clients didn't have that, but they've been sending emails heavily. Also, what is also important to highlight here is that all the results of any of this are being recorded in the database of spam filter. So it means that if you already damaged your reputation in the past, and this is already recorded, it's not just, hey, it's going to take me a week or a month of not sending anything in, I'll be all right. No, that's not how this works, right? You already stored in the database, so your reputation already been damaged. And then, so the idea is that if you want to get to this 70%, you need to make sure that you are not just, again, polishing your lead list, you're not polishing your templates in your value proposition, but also you have the right sending process. And that's something that me and Vlad are going to speak about as well. All right. So common challenges of the unprepared email outreach. So what, if you really wanted to make sure that you're hitting 70% of open rate, you need to make sure that you are not one in the list. All right. So let's start with the behavioral patterns. This one is very interesting. So here's how this works. So whenever I'm as a recipient of your mailbox, if I receive your email and I mark that email as spam, So what I do, I go vice versa. So I kind of tell, the spam filters and then the databases that, oh, well, I don't like Michael's email or Vlad's email, so I'm going to put it back in spam. So, and then if the certain percentage of people are going to do that, that could create a behavioral pattern of people marking your emails as spam. So what that's going to do for you is that's going to lead to the poor results of your deliverability later down the road when you're going to be sending a fresh batch. Because then if 1% or 5% of your user base mark your emails as spam because some didn't like the email or you sent those emails too late, or there are different reasons, right? If 5% of your user base mark your emails as spam, then it means that the next time you're going to be sending emails, already from 5 to 10% of the emails will go to spam by definition, not because you did something wrong, but because of these behavioral patterns. So and we're going to speak in the next few slides of how to make sure that you have the very nice behavioral patterns, but just again, make sure that this also affects your deliverability and you need to pay attention to this, all right?
Speaking about the sender score, so basically Michael kind of put the right point. So basically you're getting all of those kind of feedback on what kind of emails are you getting from your recipients that they get, and they're interacting with your email. They rather put you kind of in a spam because of they have kind of not appropriate time or even the bad mood. And it's kind of result of being flagged by Google and Microsoft if you kind of sending emails, for example, not in the right time, or you're sending emails kind of with bad content or whatever. And basically it end up with a pure send reputation, sender score, which is meaning that all of those ESPs, all of those systems out there, Microsoft, Google, and others, big one, they're assigning you the send reputation, sender score, or domain reputation or domain health. Basically having your rating, like credit rating or something like this, having in place, which is kind of affecting any further email outreach that you will planning to do from your domain, from your mailboxes. And this can be the common case scenario when your kind of one campaign hit the right numbers, and the second campaign after that hit kind of drastically lower numbers. And this is the result that your emails being interacted by your recipients most of the cases.
Right. Wrong software is basically what it's all also about what software you're using, because ideally the software that is designed for cold emailing should be used for cold emailing, but the software has that SPF identity that we mentioned in the past slide. That means that if the software that was designed for a certain type of email marketing is not used by it, for example, you're using HubSpot for sending cold emails, which the software wasn't designed to do about, right? Or you're using MailChimp for sending cold emails, or you're using cold emailing platform for sending inbound type emails, right? So, or the software that you use doesn't have the good reputable sending service on the backends. So all of that going to ruin and damage your reputation altogether. So you need to make sure that the software that you're shopping for is specifically designed for the task that you wanted to do. And then don't try to kind of adjust or set up the tool that was designed for one task to do something else, because again, that's gonna ruin the whole thing. Let's move on to wrong DNS records. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah. Speaking about the DNS, the things that we kind of talked in the previous slide, having kind of wrong DNS setup, wrong domain infrastructure setup under your email marketing campaigns will end up with no results at all, or probably your email will be kind of delayed. So by meaning delayed, I mean when you're sending emails without settings, most common case, your emails will starting to route, but nowhere, because you have no settings in place. So basically we'll send emails and you will have no response, no either any errors you will get, no other kind of result you will get. So kind of take care of your DNS records, the first thing that you need to do after the webinar.
Right. So next, spam filters. This one I've never know about before. Vlad actually told me how this works. So essentially, the email service that you're using. For example, I am a Google user using G Suite, right? So if I am sending emails to other G Suite users, then there's the Google spam filter is going to treat me differently as if I am a Microsoft user sending emails to G Suite. So every ESP have their own set of rules for their spam filtering. So depending of my ESP or the ESP of my client, there are different rules of spam filtering. So some are more positive towards others and some are not. So we've analyzed that if I am an Outlook user and my clients or my leads are Microsoft users, then my deliverability and my open rate is going to be much higher if I am in the same ESP kingdom, right, as they are. But if I'm in different, using a different ESP, like, a lot of us are using Google on this call, right? Then we are not going to be favorable in sending emails to Outlook users and vice versa, right? So again, the point here is just make sure that you're not just working with spam filters and as one entity, but you actually are addressing spam issues of each and every spam filter of the ESP that you are using. And then the question probably in the chat right now is like, well, first, how do I know what ESP how is sending my email to spam folder? And then second, how do I know what are the ESP of my leads or the people that I'm emailing to, right? And there are different tools for that. So Folderly can definitely help you to test which ESPs and which spam filters are marking your emails as spam. And then second, there are tools that you probably are using to verify your email list to bounces, right? Like Zero Bounce, and there are some other tools. I'm just personally using Zero Bounce. And what they do when they verify whether the email is valid or non-valid, they also can tell you what is the ESP of your user. So you can see the list that you're using, what is their ESP, and then depending on the type of ESP they're using, you can adjust your sending process. This is just one of the tips for you here. And then just again, going to the mail list right here.
Yeah, and speaking of the mailing lists, this is more about the list hygiene, how you're like treating your leads, how you're treating your databases, and how you take care of them, kind of when you clean them, when you analyzing how big is your base at all, how many clients of yours like changing your mailboxes or even kind of went inactive. So there's a lot of tools, as Michael mentioned, the Zero Bounce one of it, and I guess there is hundreds of different tools out there who will help with this matter. But this is one of the crucial things that can really ruin your reputation when you are sending emails to kind of not existing mailboxes. So if you kind of, there's proportion, if you're sending up to like 50-20% of emails to unavailable mailbox or inactive mailboxes, you will end up kind of blacklisted with your mailbox, with your domain, alongside with your IP address even. So there is kind of huge attention to whom you're sending your emails to.
Yeah. So if you're just starting with your, if you're just starting with cleaning your email list, right, there are like 3 types of lead status. Like there's a valid email addresses, non-valid or invalid, and there are catch-alls, right? So the catch-alls are the most trickiest one because if it's valid, then the email that you send go through, right? If it's invalid, then you receive the hard bounce, and there's like a rejected, like no, this user doesn't exist, right? And the catch-all is type of the email that actually doesn't give you the reject message, but it's not going through. So if you're not cleaning your list and you have a lot of invalid and catch-all emails in your list, then you are just damaging your reputation. So it's really important to make sure that you are sending emails only to valid emails, right? And then the last one on this slide is the content, right? The content is very important, and it's not just about writing good content, but actually testing content so it doesn't include a lot of spam words, because one of the things that happens is that the spam filters, they analyze your content to see which spam words you're using, because a lot of phishers and scammers are using spam words like free, promotion, money, whatever, right? Like just etc. So these are some of the spam words, and you need to make sure that you're not including a lot of those spam words, and try to replace the spam words that are considered by spam filters as spammed to some an alternative by rephrasing. And we actually, Vlad and I, what we did, we've collected this database of spam spam words that are out there to analyze content. And we also kind of created this very simple but very useful software that help you to analyze your template to see what's your deliverability score, what is your structure, do you have spam words, etc. And we put it out on the website for free. So you can go to folder.io and you can click on products free spam checker, and you can check your templates to see what's your deliverability score. And if you see some spam words there, make sure that you are replacing them. All right. All right. So this one is fun. We call it folderimer, or like fold. How do you spell that, Vlad?
I guess folder member is like the
Folder
ones
member.
when you are hitting the all of those kind of problems and you're fixing all of those. I guess this kind of may sound as a comprehensive process, the everything Michael and I telling you, but you can kind of believe us in terms of how we're kind of achieving all of those kind of numbers, and this kind of not a kind of, we do not want to bullshitting you, but we want to help you in terms of giving the understanding how technical topic is and how big efforts we need to do in terms of like having email marketing works in the right way. And on average, from our experience, Michael and mine, so it takes 1 month of purely working with the mailbox and domain to like fixing, polishing all of those kind of problems that we mentioned before, having these kind of challenges in place before any outreach would be the great scenario. So you would have time to prepare your mailboxes domains to further email marketing campaigns. But after you kind of starting to send your emails and you end up with those challenges, it's much kind of worst scenario, because you're starting to work with the problems that you obtained because of the behavior or because of your sender score or because of your being blacklisted or whatever. So
right.
yeah.
And it's going to take a month. So we call this month as the month of the warm up and preparation. So typically, if you are wanting to get your new domain and new mailbox that's up and running with email outreach, make sure that you invest enough time to prepare everything, warm it up, and make sure that all that is set for you, again, to be successful with this channel. I saw the question in the chat. We will make sure that we can answer those questions at the end of this. All right. So please stay about till the end and we can answer your questions. All right. So step to reach the inbox process really quickly here, one by one. So this is what you guys need to do to make sure that, you are successful and you're getting that 70% open rate for your emails. All right. So step number 1, get separate domains for your cold and warm emails, right? Very important. Never send cold emails from your main domain. So if Vlad and I have a domain as folder.com, our BDRs are sending cold emails. They're not using the .com domain, but we created .io domain, .co, .us domains, and we are using those for sending cold emails. And we set up a redirect to our main website. So if our customers are Googling folder, they will go to folder.com, or if they go to folder.co, they go to folder.com. But technically, from the sending standpoint, our SDRs are using different DKIM and DNS settings. And because of that, we are not suffering from our, their reputation is not suffering for our main domain. So again, very, very important, making sure that you guys are doing the same. All right. But can you take the next one?
Yeah. So we already talked about the DNS and the importance of the DNS. So we'll take one after this. So basically, is for the fact that DNS is important and the thing that you need to like polish or create.
Where do you set it up? Where do you set it up, Vlad?
That's the good question. So basically, you set it up all those your domain registrant. So basically, you're using your like GoDaddy account or Cloudflare account or Namecheap, or there's few of them that's like most famous. But you need to use your kind of domain registrant because there's kind of your domain passport with all those data that falls under it. Speaking about the email deliverability test, if you don't mind, I will take it. There's already a few more questions over the chat about how I can test my email deliverability, how I can test the ESPs, how I can test my placement. So basically, what is all about? So having different mailboxes on the different email service providers, giving you some sort of insights how your emails end up. And what the kind of folder where they end up with. And this is the common practice when we are sending our emails to our clients. And when I kind of want to understand where my emails land, I send my email to the Michael or my colleague like Kate or like any other colleague or to my friend to see where my emails. And this kind of the most cheapest way to see your placement. But in most of the cases you will do this only for Gmail or Microsoft, because no one in most of the cases not using the others. And as Michael said over the email pass, that all of those ESPs take a matter, and you need to comply with all of those requirements of all kind of email service providers out there. So you need to be sure that Apple treat you well, Amazon treat you well, not just the Google and Microsoft. So you should perform your email deliverability tests like once a while. And again, with Apology, we already make this kind of comfort, because we already having all of those ESPs under one roof. So you can kind of do this kind of on a daily basis and get kind of insights what kind of happening with your mailboxes and domains.
Right. And that's actually, it's very easy, because before that I was using multiple tools for testing that. And now we've kind of developed that feature that allows you to test all of your ESPs with one simple test and just get all the information that you need, and you don't need to be very technical, right? This one is interesting because I, again, didn't know that as well when I started. So each ESP, or depending on how you send emails, there are certain limits in terms of how you send them. So for example, if I'm sending cold emails through Google G Suite, my mailbox has the natural limit of between 200 to 250 emails at a ramp up. Right. So when I'm starting, I started like 20, and then go to 30, then 50, 70, 100, 150, and then to 200. And I'm always keeping that 200 because that's the silver lining if I want to get my emails delivered. The Outlook has a natural limit of under 500. But what is interesting is that very often when we are sending emails through HubSpot or Salesforce, but then have our Gmail connected to them, we are not keeping those limits. And because of that doesn't give the right deliverability. So make sure that the tools that you're using have the right connection with the number of with your ESP, also with regards to limits that you're sending. And this one, it goes very organically to the next point. Scale your number of mailboxes, not emails, right? So it means that don't try to just warm things up, your infrastructure, and just start sending more and more emails. Make sure that you have more mailboxes connected to tools to send more emails, right? So we always encourage and do the same ourselves. Use tools that have multiple instances, multiple mailboxes. So even if I'm using HubSpot, I have 15, 20 mailboxes connected to HubSpot that I'm using for sending out emails in smaller volumes, right? And not using one to send like all of them. And again, here we also speak a lot about cold emailing, right? Because with warm in inbound marketing, it's a bit different, right? Because the tools that are different, right? What we are talking here is we've seen that many companies are using one domain and one mailbox to send this, thousands of emails. They're going to be blacklisted quickly, and it doesn't work. So if I want to send 1,000 emails, I'm not warming up my mailbox to send 1,000 emails. What I'm doing is that I'm creating 5 mailboxes, can be sending 200 emails each, and do that on a daily basis consistently to get very high performance.
Yeah, so about warm upping your email template. So before you hitting your send button, try to understand, is it the good email I'm kind of came up with, the good HTML I'm creating? So first of all, test it and analyze the placement of your new email template or email sequence or email marketing campaign in general before do anything. And if you kind of came up with everything great, starting to warm up your email templates. And by meaning that, we mean that you need to send emails like not kind of blasting hundreds, like thousands of emails into one kind of push. You just need to scale it gradually and warm up your templates with before like campaign preparation with kind of like, for example, Folgely, which is helping your content be more prepared to like hitting the folders of your recipients by simply sending all of those kind of sequences emails to different ESPs, analyzing what kind of result you will end up with. So basically, warm up, it's one of the like important processes before any kind of email marketing campaign starts. So make sure that you not just kind of roughly create a template, upload the leads, and push the send button.
And just to add on this, when our SDRs are changing templates as they go, right? So they started the campaign, it's running, and then they like, oh, well, my subject line and my email, something in my email doesn't suit me, so I'm going to change that. So when they change that, even though the whole thing is already warmed up, they still are warming up those new templates before they start sending them out. So every time you change the template, it should be warmed up beforehand. And you can use software like Folderly to warm up your template or your sequence of templates as well. And again, the reason we've had that feature is because our SDRs are warming up the templates. If they don't, then their emails end up in spam. And so you need to do that. And then we already talked about the list hygiene and that you need to validate your emails regularly. All right. So we wanted to show you this guy named Michael Colombo. We started working with Michael when he was struggling with his open rates. So he had about 20% open rates before we started, and and his emails have been hitting spam box a lot. So when we started working with him, and we've helped him to set up DNS records, we helped him to set up his domains, his mailboxes, help to warm up his templates, and test and verify, work with inbox placement on a daily basis. We've seen the increase in the inbox rate, decrease in the spam rate, and his open rate starts growing. And now Michael is currently working with us and making sure that our email infrastructure, that his email infrastructure is being warmed up and supported by Folderly software, and he can hit the inbox most of the time. All right. So again, for some of you, and maybe for some of you not, but we've heard that people say that outbound channel is in crisis, and it's already dead. We need to do something about it. Believe the people who are building businesses on this, specifically not consulting. We are not doing any consulting work. We're just doing the actual legwork. So we are sending emails, getting the leads, getting appointments, and building marketing. And currently, across all our companies, we are servicing hundreds of clients. We're sending billions of emails on a monthly and a yearly basis, actually billions on a yearly and millions on a monthly basis. And we're doing that in the network of thousands of domains. And we are not talking here about subject lines. We're not talking here about the different approaches, because we know that based on your industry, based on where you guys are, you came up with these amazing ideas, very fine, weedy, and etc. And I'm sure that you know how to market your product, but very often, because we are thinking a lot about marketing our products and not about actually the process start being so sophisticated and so out of hand, then everything that we're doing after this just doesn't make sense if everything is not set up correctly technical wise. So we highly encourage you guys to really dive deep, not maybe yourself, but actually have a partner that could help you to navigate those blue waters of the email livability. And you don't need to figure things out as I was, because again, I'm in sales, and that's the last thing that I wanted to do, right? I just wanted to get deals done. So because of that, I had Vlad and the team creating the easy to use software with the easy interface without these technical terms and the dashboards that are super weird and super complex, just actually helping me. Here's what I need to do: connect the mailbox, connect demand, add my template, click button, run, see the results, see what's going on, click on the button, how to fix that, get it fixed, and that's it, and just focus on sales. So that's why the outbound for me is an opportunity, not a crisis, right? And then for all of you that seated here with us over the last 35 minutes, we prepare a gift. So it's a 25% off for all Rev Genius members on Folderly. And it's a lot, because if you're going to be saving thousands of dollars a year with this. So that's again our gift to you, for you that you join us today and had had spent time learning about all this. All right. And now we still have, if you need to go, of course, but we still have some time to, me and Vlad, to answer some of your questions. So if you still have some questions, put them in the chat or in the Q&A section. And we'll go through those questions right now. Yeah. All right. So let me go
Yes.
from the top. All right, the first question here in the chat would be from, just give me a second. All right, so Vas here asked us how check what ESP inbox use. So how to check what is your ESP inbox use. So we've mentioned that used tools like zero bounce. When you verify your email list on the bounce rate, you will be able to get the information when you export the list with the valid email addresses. You will, with all the email addresses that you checked, you will see this ESP column when they can tell you what is their ESP if they were able to detect it. All right. What software do you recommend for cold emailing? Not HubSpot, not Salesforce. Vlad, what is the software that you usually recommend for running cold email campaigns?
So basically, there is a lot of clients of ours on the Polygraphy side that came from different tools, even from Salesforce, HubSpot, SendGrid, Outreach. Though there is, I guess I can get an assumption that there is no difference in the tool rather than the setup and take caring of those kind of limitation and having kind of rules in the, like playing with the rules of the game, and you will end up with a great reputation, with the great results, no matter tools are using. And again, splitting warm outreach and cold outreach, because sending cold email outreach from the MailChimp, not the best practices. So yeah, so basically having all of those practices that we just discussed, it is better than constantly switching the tools.
Right, and you asked here, Vas, or actually, Vas asked, Martin asked actually if it's not HubSpot or Salesforce. So we don't recommend HubSpot or Salesforce for cold emailing. I've sent you a list of tools: SalesLoft, Outreach, Reply, Lemlist. These are good tools for cold outreach. They were designed specifically as engagement platform for sending out cold emails. All right. And then we have a question here from Kevin. Does the 1 month apply to new email account users or entire organization? So over the course of 1 month, you will be able to prepare your entire organization for everything. So it means that you can run multiple warm-up campaigns and preparation campaigns for any of your mailboxes on any number of your domains, and it's going to take just a month, and it's going to take you a few minutes to set it up. All right, so yeah, there will be a recording of this, as Gina mentioned. As a sales consultant, Martin asked, should I ask the client to use a separate domain for cold email outreach? Correct. Yes. So as a sales consultant, I would actually, if I were you, I would help client to set up a new domain, so you can charge them for this, right? So you just kind of have the process for this. So you can set up a domain, you can set up a client name and a domain zone independently from the client, because anyone can buy a new domain these days, and a new domain zone is the same as domain. As the new domain zone is a different domain, basically. So it means that you can buy a website, a domain, you can set it up, you can set up all the redirects, and you can provide the client with a solution. But definitely that's a must-have. I'm lost. Is this something that marketing will know if we just send to them?
That's a fun question.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, I think that a lot of things that we've spoke about today is familiar to marketers, and they will be able to do that and navigate this with tools.
Is that I would love to add here. So there's something new about email marketing nowadays. So it's starting to be more technical rather marketing, and you should kind of be triple % sure about what kind of I'm doing, what kind of tools I'm using, and what kind of setup you have. So basically, all of those marketers out there starting to learn more about all of those new updates that came from Google and others.
Also, just to give you some clarity, so you have the CRM system, HubSpot, Sales, or whatever. The CRM is the place where you store all the leads, all the data to your clients, all the deals, all the information, right? You don't use your CRM for sending out cold emails. You just don't. You have a tool for that. That tool is called an engagement platform. That tool is integrated with your CRM system to fuel data from CRM to CRM and from CRM system. But then the tool is actually doing the sending. I've sent you the list of the tools, right? So before you start using that tool for sending, prior to that, you need to plug in Folderly, or actually while you're using that tool, so that Folderly can prepare your domain and your mailboxes and your templates to then being used by that tool for sending out cold emails. And if you have a tool that already have a kind of warm-up part of it, well, that warm-up part doesn't work, right? Because that's not their business model. They just kind of have that as the feature to have, but that's actually doesn't work. We didn't find that effective. So that's why we have a dedicated platform for the warm-up and the maintenance and testing. So you use Folderly, then you use an engagement platform, then you use your CRM system. So in that sequence. All right.
We have an
all right,
interesting question about the videos. So we have actually an advice for those who are sending videos. So basically, we heavily suggest you upload video to your kind of YouTube channel or a YouTube channel for your organization and put it kind of accessed by the link. And when you put your YouTube link over the email, and this is the link that not harm your reputation because it's kind of on the Google ecosystem, it will be attached to your mailbox, so to your email while you're sending emails from your mailbox. So basically having the YouTube link on the recipient end, and that was the attachment of the video.
Awesome. I have a few questions here in the QA section. So Martin also asked, how do you know if there's a problem with the domain? Good question. And I am a freelancer and not sure how to find whether the DNS records is in a good shape or not. So for you to test that, so there are two things, Martin. So this is a good one, difficult one, because there's no, it hasn't been one tool before Folderly to show you with all the DNS records. There are 4 types of DNS records, and you can read about that. You just click, what are the DNS records? There's a DMARC, DKIM, SPF, and PIMU, right? And each record is set up differently, and you need to Google how it's set up. You can either get someone to set it up for you, or you can set up yourself. The 3 are pretty easy to set up because there are very clear instructions how you do that. But the SPF is a tricky one because you need to write it depending on what tools you're using for your cold outreach. And that's why we have an SPF generator on the Folderly website where you can click all the tools that you're using and click on generate an SPF. And then you're going to see the SPF record generated for you that you copy and paste in your settings menu. All right. There are some questions here from Eleanor. So I've heard the Glock apps. Yes, we actually been before Folderly test, we use Glock apps, and it's a good tool. We also recommend that. The tool we mentioned, Folderly. Yes, the website is folderly.com. Do you have a flow chart for this to show where Folderly is? We do have that. We are happy to share that with Gina after this, so she can send it to community. And what tools do you need to use before using Folderly? And actually, you can use Folderly in any sequence whatsoever. If you already have some tools, that's good. You can start using Folderly, then all other tools, or you can start using all other tools and then use Folderly, right? And then you say, Eleanor, you asked here about the engagement platform we use. So we use reply.io, but I've sent in the chat the list of other good engagement platforms that you can use as well. But we are fans of reply.io. We've been using them for 5 years, and we know founders, we are good friends of them, and we're doing some content with them as well. So again, they're great, and but some other tools are good as well. So it just depends on your budget, on the interface, or your design likeness, and the support team, and that's it. All right. And then
we have one more in general chat. I will take one. This like Tusif asking about the marketing suite emails versus sales suite emails for cold outreach. On a HubSpot, which one has better chances of success? So simply saying, when you're like specializing on the cold email outreach, using the tools, not kind of like the MailChimp or CRM system, would be better in terms of the health of the nature of your email marketing campaign, rather than using the not appropriate tools for kind of as their kind of integrated feature. So basically try to use something on top of your CRM. We're using HubSpot as our CRM, and as Michael said, a reply, in most of the cases, our outreach solution. And for marketing suite, it's HubSpot, MailChimp, and SendGrid, like depending on the type of the campaign.
All right. Okay, guys. So thanks for your time. We're already out of time. Thank you very much for joining us today and listening to this, and hope you've enjoyed this and you found something interesting, something new that you learned. So yeah, we really appreciate the time. And Thanks for Web Genius for organizing this and giving us the stage and opportunity to speak to the community. Thank you
Thank
all.
you guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a good one now.